It's a Wednesday night. How's it going? We're at the mall on a Wednesday. How are you? That was very polite. Some people wooing, some people clapping. This lady just politely waving. Hello. Hi, how are you? Yes, I have the most kind audience members at all of my shows. They're like, woo, yeah. Hi, there you are. So good. Thank you guys so much for coming out. One more time for all the comics you've seen tonight. Make it loud for them. Yeah. So good to be here. I love performing at this mall. This is the nicest mall to perform at. Trust me, I perform at malls all over the country, and most of them look closed. And not this one. This one looks like malls used to look. It's like we stepped back into 1985, and we're like, whoa! Feels good. Feels energized, you know? Because then there's the rest of Irvine, which is just corporate offices for businesses you used to go to. It's so weird. Like, you're like, oh yeah, I remember BlackBerry. Oh, that's where they do their taxes. All right. And you're like, oh my God, a Taco Bell? Corporate? All right. That means there's like an office somewhere with just documents of how many chalupas they sold. 2023. Some guy over there going, I gotta keep up with these chalupa sales. An accountant on Tex-Mex. That's what I like Irvine. I like what you guys got going on. Everything's curated, everything. Your HOA is on point. No one's going wild with the painting of their houses. Everything's, you got it down to about 3 swatches. No one's hanging up basketball hoops. There's none of that here. You guys got a stiff HOA board out here. Manicured lawns. No one has a relative in an RV. None of that going on over here. I like that. You guys are running a tight ship. I appreciate that. Running a tight ship. Day before Thanksgiving, trying to have some fun, right? Before you gotta sit down with the family. Yeah? I love Thanksgiving. It's the best one. It's a holiday. It's all about the food. No gifts. No gifts. You don't have to pretend to say thank you. You don't have to go, oh, how'd you guess? You know, none of that. You can just be like, more. Please feed me more. None of that. All you have to do is shut up. That's all you have to do. Just smile. It's the best holiday. God, I love it. It's good to be here. I flew in from New York today. I flew in, into San Diego. Should have flown closer. Flew to San Diego, got a rental car, and I'm like, what have we done? I think I forgot how long that drive is. From San Diego to here is somewhere between an hour to 6 hours, depending on where everyone is headed on that certain holiday. Man, that drive north, everyone's headed south. Like it's, remember that movie The Day After Tomorrow where the world's ending? And everyone's just heading south like, oh, it's freezing up here. And I'm like, I think we're going the wrong direction. The end of the world is coming from that away. We're hitting it head on. Yeah, flying this time of year. It's the time of year where everyone that doesn't fly, flies. And it's so noticeable out there. You're like, what? Last week I got doused with a bottle of Dr. Pepper from a lady who was putting her bag on I had the aisle seat, and she was putting a bag on the overhead. And it's 5 in the morning. I'm like, why is it raining right now? And I look up and there's a liter, but just, and I was like, I think you got a leak there. And she's like, oh no, my Dr. Pepper. You know? Man, drinking Dr. Pepper on a 5 a.m. flight too. Like, I just looked at her, I'm like, man, I hope you didn't forget to lock your storage unit before you left this morning. You're drinking Dr. Pepper at 5 in the morning, you live in a storage unit. You have a YouTube channel about living in that storage unit. I like the chuckles in Irvine, because you guys have too much money to laugh too hard at that. You gotta laugh in between, well, you know. It's that in-between chuckle. Doused me with Dr. Pepper. And then today, everyone on my flight was extremely elderly. There's nothing wrong with that. That's nice. That shows love. They're in their later years and people aren't coming to visit them. They're like, ship them in. Hey, should we go visit Grandpa? Half his body doesn't work. No, fly him out. We'll bump him up to economy. Like, you know how many old people I watched boarding the flight this morning? I was like, what? And there's one elderly man. I'm not making fun. I am, but I'm not. But it's from a place of love. Really, I'm mad at the family that owns this elderly person. What are you doing, shipping this old man across? Go visit him. He's elderly. He had to use the bathroom like 100 times, and each time he got up, and I'm like, he's not gonna make it. He's not gonna. And each time, you ever watch someone go to the bathroom and then they close the door and I'm like, yeah, but then what's going on in there? What's gonna happen then? Yeah. It's irresponsible. Go visit your family. Don't ship them out like they're an Amazon package, man. Go visit Grandpa in New York. He lives in New York. That's where you're gonna spend Christmas. You guys hush. You're like, that was our grandfather. Shipped him out. I had a nice elderly woman behind me on the flight, and she didn't know how the touchscreen wasn't working for her in the headrest, so she just made sure to jab the hell out of that. That was a 5.5-hour flight, and I'm just over there like, it's the holidays. You have to let it go. It's Thanksgiving, you know? The Native Americans and the Pilgrims came together. They were able to set their differences aside. Come on, it's the holiday season, pumpkin spice lattes. 5.5 hours, reminding myself not to yell.
Hey, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it, shared it, subscribed to it, hit the notification bell, do all the things YouTube makes you want to do. Other than that, I wanted to let you know that I'm constantly on tour, so go to my website, zoltancomedy.com, and see if I'm coming to a town near you. Thank you kindly.
I am over 20. Excuse me. Thank you. Sorry, I had a bunch of nuts before the show, and they got stuck. That's why the Bud Light. It wasn't a planned joke, but trust me, I wasn't building up the entire time for that moment. But I did choke on a weird peanut shell back there. And then as I was drinking the Bud Light, I saw this guy with the Second Amendment shirt going, he's drinking a Bud Light? And I was like, quickly, save it, save it! Don't lose the audience in Missouri. And I quickly tried to bring it around.
Make some noise for Zoltan.
Solid attempt. Give it, Carter, everybody. Make it loud for him. What's up, everybody? One more time for Carter. He almost got my name. That is a tough name to nail, man. I've never seen someone quit in the middle of it, though. That was Zoltan, and then he looked like. I have one of those last names, but where like looking at it doesn't help. Like if you're like, what was it? How do I pronounce it? Looking at it's not gonna help. That's like someone just punched you in the eyes with letters. Like, figure that out, you know? It's so nice to be here. One more time for Carter and old man Willie. Oh, Lord. I don't know if they talked about it, but I feel like they could be related. Like I got similar energies from both of them. Like I can see Carter being Willie in like 70 more years. He's gonna age into a lot of those jokes. Like it's gonna be good. I like Carter. He has the look of like a villain from the 20s, you know? He looked like he just got done tying someone to train tracks. All right, some of you are into it, some of you were bored. All right, we're getting started. We're going to start low, we're going to build high. Don't worry. It's good. It's first time here in the blue room, and you guys meant it. It's blue. All right. You guys are on theme. I love it. They told me this used to be a church. Yeah. I could, like, this was one of those cool churches, though. You could tell. Was it? Someone's like, I heard someone go, no, it wasn't. It was in between. Did you go to it?
I came a couple times.
Yeah. Was there like trips? It felt like this was like a church where they had trips.
Oh, no, it was interesting.
It was interesting. Wow, what a subtle way to say it turned into a cult, huh? The way he said it, it was interesting. And I was like, we get it, man. Well, I'm waiting for the documentary too. Just like you. It's going to be a hell of a documentary. That's why anytime I see something on in the news, my wife and I, we nudge each other, like, can't wait for that documentary. You know, every time, we're like, that's going to be a badass documentary. The submarine thing, you know that's coming out.
It's already out.
It's already out?
It's already out.
They made it already?
They made it already.
But who's editing that? God, who's editing these documentaries? It's like, we don't even know yet. Just do it. Just make it. We're going to come up with 2 endings. A really joyful ending, and then the one where that guy's giving the speech. Did you guys watch that guy's speech? The guy for the Coast Guard? There was a catastrophic implosion. Which, that's not, like, you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me when I was a kid and I'd watch the news and I didn't know big words. And that doesn't explain what happened. Because that's, like, if I was a kid and I listened to catastrophic implosion, I'd be like, so are they alive? Or, like, that's not enough. I need, like, a visual. Someone in the back to go, like, that's what catastrophic implosion means, man. That's a bummer. I did $250,000 for that trip, and I looked into it. They didn't even have seats. Did you guys know that? In the submarine, no chairs. Spirit Airlines has chairs. $50, wherever you want to go. Chairs. $250,000, and you show up and like, it just looked like they had a drawing. I was on a website and they had like a drawing of the submarine, and they just had a picture of 5 people sitting cross-legged with one window. They had to share one window. $250,000, one person gets the window seat, and you just... Honestly, when you looked at the diagram of the people sitting in there, it looked like a punishment. It didn't look like a wild adventure. It looked like they were sentenced to something harsh. They're like, listen, you guys, you're going in the submarine. And you're like, no, please. You're going. You're not getting the window seat. There will be no seats. It's classic. Rich people never know how to have fun. They don't. That's what they do for fun. They're like, we're going to go on a submarine, $250,000. Every rich person activity sounds like a punishment. The opera. You know? Polo, you know? Caviar, like pheasant hunting. And you're like, ugh. That's all I had on it. I was trying to watch the news. I don't know. It was fun. I've never been up here to Springfield, Missouri. I've done Kansas City. That's where I flew into. I landed into Kansas City. New airport over there. I don't know if you guys go check that out. They had the oldest airport before, and now it's the newest one. I don't know if you've ever been down there, but the oldest airport, like you wouldn't, it was, not only was it before 9/11, it was before World War II. Like, that's how old that airport looked. They're like, there's never been anything bad that's happened in this country. That's how old, like, you could drop someone off and wave to them as they boarded their flights. And I like that. It was easy to find the Uber pickup area, because it was just the curb, you know. They're like, is this the Uber? Yeah, you're at it. I'm like, all right. But now it's like super modern. Like, it was beautiful. I got off and I had to go tinkle. And I ran into the restroom, and they actually had a sign that lets you know how many stalls were opened, like before you went in there. I'm like, that's a little too technical, you know? Leave a little mystery, you know? Isn't that fun? You get off that flight, your teeth are floating, and you're like, I really gotta, oh, there's a line, you know? Don't take all the thrill out of life. Let me live a little. Just a little. I don't know. Then we had gotten a rental car, got a badass rental car. It's a Cadillac. I've never driven a Cadillac in my life. And they didn't want to give it to me, but they didn't have the car that I was supposed to have, so they had to begrudgingly give me an upgrade. That's a good little traveler's tip, because I travel all the time. If you get up to the counter and they really try to push the upgrade on you, hey, for an extra $50, I can put you in a Cadillac. What that means is that Nissan Versa isn't back yet. And they're trying to get some money, so just stay strong. You're gonna get the Cadillac. Okay? You're gonna get that Cadillac. Don't pay an extra $50 for it. Next time they ask you, they just go, oh, the Versa's not back yet? And watch their face go, damn it, he knows their secrets. Free upgrade. And we made the drive out here. It was me by myself. But I talk in my head, so it feels like I'm not alone. Made that drive, man. There was nothing between here and Kansas City, dude. Nothing, man. A lot of nothing. Nothing and then Amish. And you're like, wow, you know? It's so crazy because and we keep, like, I feel like I'd scare them, you know? If I pulled over and showed them what's going on in this Cadillac, they'd be like, get the hell out of here, dude. With your witchcraft. Like, I don't even know if I could explain AI to the Amish. I wouldn't even know how. Just like, imagine if the butter that you're churning ended up one day killing you all. Like, imagine that happening. I think that's the best way I can explain it. It's a tough one, you know? But they might be living right, you know, because we've used every piece of technology to make sure we hate each other. Everything that's come out, we're like, how can I hate someone with this? But they're over there. There's no group chat in the Amish community. That's just 5 people in the same room. That's what a group chat is. What was that, Jebediah? You know? That's a group chat right there. Yeah, it's creepy. It's a creepy drive. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Oh, I had to pee, and I was hungry, and the next stop was a town called Humansville. I kept driving, you know? And I was hungry. Nope. You ever have those moments you just drive and you see the name of the town? Like, we're not doing that.
I take it you didn't stop at Fair Play after that? Or
What's that?
did you stop in Fair Play after
No, I kept driving until I got here. Because after I saw Humansville, I'm like, we're not stopping anywhere. Because it felt like a trap, you know? Humansville sounded like aliens from outer space took over a town. And they're like, how do we get them to come in? Name it something relatable. Humansville! And then you show up, there's just no one's blinking. Welcome to Humansville. Think you're having a good time. Next thing you know, they're sucking out your spinal fluid. Watch a lot of Black Mirror, you guys. Because it was Amish, and then like right outside, like this city's cool, like the town here, and then right outside of it, a little methy. And let's be honest, you know? Maybe. It's a little, I don't know what that, I guess that's still Springfield, but like right outside where you get off the freeway, and then it's like I ate at a Jimmy John's over there. You know, which I try not to, because the owner kills lions in Africa, so I try not to support that, but I was hungry. And I was in the middle of what felt like nowhere, and I'm like, someone's gonna eat these sandwiches. So I went in there, but as I pulled in, there was a shirtless dude, this big jacked up white dude, shirtless, and he was just walking. You know, like some people gotta walk where you're like, oh, there's a felony coming at the end of that walk. You can tell in the stance, you're like, he's headed to something bad, you know? And I look closer, he had an ankle bracelet, like the monitor. And I'm like, where are the police? Like, there's no way his boundaries are the town. Like, yeah, just feel free to walk around all methy and shirtless, scaring the town folk. Where are the police? He was scaring the town folk. I know I wasn't the only one afraid, it was me and Jimmy. You're looking out there going, hope he's not hungry. I don't think we could take him together, even together. He looked like he had the good prison muscles. Good. Oh, please eat. I see you holding your sandwich. Oh, you're laughing too hard? I'll slow it down. I don't want to keep you from eating. I just saw you holding that sandwich and I'm like, eat, man. Enjoy yourself. Because I hate you guys, because I love eating, man, and thankfully my wife loves eating too. We're one of those couples, when the food arrives, we don't talk. You know, we do all our talking before and after. Once the food arrives, it's like we're in a fight. You know, but we're not. We're in a very lovely place. We're eating food and our endorphins are high. But the worst is if we go on a double date with like another couple, and most other couples just don't eat like they do, and then they're like, and my wife and I are like you right now, just going. And we're pretending to be into it, but inside on the inside we're like, shut up! Shut up and eat! We didn't have a snack before this meal, because we knew this dinner was coming. Now you're not letting us eat. Let us eat! Yeah, man. It's good. Last weekend, I've been traveling a lot. Last weekend, I didn't travel for comedy. It was my buddy's bachelor party. A bunch of guys, and I'm 36. So a bunch of mid-30s to late 30s. We went to Parker, Arizona, which, I don't know, if you haven't been to Parker, Arizona, what I expect Humansville to be like, you know? It's a bunch of people where you're not real. Are you serious? It's just like you picture Arizona, but picture cast a movie about Arizona where the casting is a little on the nose. That's what Parker, Arizona is. There's a lot of dudes in hats, like baseball caps, but their hats are too big for their heads, so it covers the tops of their ears. Do you know what look I'm talking about? It's like bro-y, but not for the ocean. They're like... I grew up in Southern California, so I get it. Like, if you don't get it, there's two political parties in Southern California. There's people that go to the beach and people that go to the river. All right? Those are the two. And by the way, it doesn't split as liberal and conservative. It splits as sunshine or hell. I want to hang out in hell. It's 110 degrees. It was so hot. And everyone was scary. And my friend group, the guy who was the bachelor, he was having a great time. But he befriends everybody. So we had the biggest motley crew of people that I've ever met. Like people that I would never hang out with my entire life. I'm now spending a weekend with at the river. There's this one dude who fit right in. He looked like our connect to the town. His name was Jenny, I think. That was a nickname. He was one of those guys that had like 4 nicknames, so I never really got his name. And he was just covered in tattoos, head to toe, which I'm not judging, that's fine. But there was a beautiful moment on the drive back when we were talking about work and how stressful, because they have real jobs, not this fake stuff that I do, but like they have real jobs, and he just goes, money isn't everything. I've really learned that money isn't everything, even though I have the opposite tattooed on my leg. And I was like, what'd you say? And then he pulled up his leg and it said, money is everything on his leg. And I was like, oh man. So what now, I was like, well, I'm going to keep it, but, it will remind me that I was wrong. It's important. They did so much drugs, and they shouldn't. I'm not a drug guy, never been. I have a low resting heart rate. That's my reason. I've never done, people do the cocaine now, all that stuff. I've never tried it, because one time I took an Adderall, and then it was fun. I was in Vegas, I took one little Adderall, and I just couldn't stop talking. I had, all night, just blah, 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 blah. I had nothing to say, but I couldn't shut up. It's the most I've ever said about nothing the entire time. And the next morning I woke up and it felt like I was sprinting, but I wasn't sprinting. My heart was just beating like a rabbit, and I woke everybody up. And they're like, yeah, that happens sometimes. And I'm like, you should be more afraid. And they're like, no, we're not. And I was like, okay. And I never did anything after that. I just, I do edibles. That's what I'm into. I'm into the calming ones, you know? I'm into the stuff where you go, if you get a drug that does that, I'll give it a try, you know? Do you have one? If you can smile while doing it and not feel the need to, you know, keep talking, then I'm into it. I love a little edible. I'm so happy those are illegal. Could you imagine if they were illegal still? Like having to buy that from a drug dealer, having to go into some drug dealer's studio apartment and be like, what are you here for? The gummy bears. I'd be so embarrassed. I'd have to order something else, you know? Just so he wouldn't judge me. And some black tar heroin, that too. The gummy bears are for the kids, the smacks for daddy, you know? And I gotta flush the heroin. I'm not doing that, I'm just trying to giggle while watching TV. Marijuana in some form or fashion has been legal in this country for about 10 years, I think. I don't know, I half looked it up. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in those last 10 years, anxiety and conspiracy theories through the roof. And I'm not saying they're connected. I'm just saying it's worth looking into, you know? Sometimes I get on the wrong side of a little gummy, and then I'll make eye contact with one of the cats and be like, what do you know? Tell me right now, what the hell do you know? And they're just not impressed with me.
Hey, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it, shared it, subscribed to it, hit the notification bell, do all the things YouTube makes you want to do. Other than that, I wanted to let you know that I'm constantly on tour, so go to my website, zoltancomedy.com, and see if I'm coming to a town near you. Thank you kindly.
I know! Thank you guys. Thanks so much for showing up on a Wednesday. I appreciate that. I was worried, but you guys came, so thank you. How many of you were here last year when I came? All right, thank you. I expected more return customers, but that's cool. Thank you so much for coming back. Everyone else, all right. I appreciate that. Thank you. Man, that hurts my heart. Where are those people? We sold it out last year too with 100. Where are those? There was like 10 people that clapped. Where are those 100 people? What's that?
Journey and Toto.
Journey and Toto's tonight?
Yeah.
Let's get the hell out of here. Like, what are we listening to me for right now? Journey and Toto? It's not even, oh, man. You didn't even mean that to hurt my heart. And you're like, dude, it's not your fault. I mean, you're still sold out, but those people didn't come back because Journey and Toto are in town. And I gotta start looking up the schedule next time. You can't just look at all the murmuring. They're like, we could leave right now and still catch Africa before Journey comes on. Man, I guess I'm on a good trajectory. I'm playing on the same night. We're both playing on a Wednesday, aren't we? Me, Journey, Toto. There's a lot going on in Savannah, so that's so funny. That's how it goes sometimes. I love Savannah. This is my second time here, and this is the most beautiful haunted city I've ever been to. It's clearly haunted. All the buildings. It's like when they built it, they're like, this is going to be great when... It's like when they designed the buildings, they're like, it's beautiful now, but wait till we're all dead, and we're going to haunt these buildings. Because those buildings, even when they were new, people were like, ugh, gorgeous, but can we sage it before we move in? You're like, no, it's a new building. You're like, I don't know, I feel it in there, man. I went on a ghost tour the last time I was here,
Last time I was here, I went on a ghost tour because I had just had my first ghost experience that month. This time last year, I was molested by a ghost in Tucson, Arizona. Yeah, all right, you were here. You remember that. Yeah, I remember it too. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't happen every day. I hope. Imagine that. Imagine if it did. Like, I gotta hire a ghost lawyer because I am being molested by ghosts every day. Yeah, I was performing in Tucson, Arizona at Hotel Congress, which is a notoriously haunted hotel. I didn't know that. I don't do a lot of research before I show up. That's why I'm performing on the same night as Journey and Toto. So I just showed up to the venue, and they gave me a free hotel room, and I didn't know. And I'm like, ooh, this looks spooky. And we find out it's very haunted. And just to give you a quick gist of the joke, it's a true story. We're sleeping, and I hear a cough, and then I feel someone standing next to me on the bed, and then I just feel a hand right here on my hip, and the hand is searching, and it gets to where it's going, and it gives me 3 how do you do's, and I screamed. That's what you do in that situation, you know? And so after that, I was obsessed with ghosts, you know? Obviously, I was never a ghost guy before that, but now I'm in that world. Obviously, I've been touched. I'm in that world. I'm a ghost guy. So then we came to Savannah, and I found out Savannah is one of the most haunted places, so we went on a ghost tour. Some guy in a ponytail took us around, and it was cool. It was cool. Yeah, you guys have had some bad things happen here. The creepiest one is that flu thing you guys had. I love how I keep saying, I don't mean COVID. I mean, like, way before that. You guys had the yellow fever, yeah, where people, like, they didn't have the medical equipment to realize someone was dead yet. So they just went, man, that guy hasn't woken up in a while. And so they would bury him in a crypt, but then they kept burying all these live people, like too many. And I like how you guys are pulling back. This happened over 100 years ago. We can talk about it. You guys are like, too soon. No. This is the time. If there's ever a time, it's right now. It's 2023, Wednesday. Journey and Toto are in town. We're going to talk about the yellow fever back in the 1800s. They thought they were dead, but then they kept like adding more bodies to a crypt, and they realized there's like people like trying to dig out like a horror movie. So their cure to that wasn't like, hey, let's make sure they're dead. Their cure was, hey, what if we tie a bell to their finger? So if someone wakes up in a grave and then goes, diddle-ling, we'll go, hoo-hoo-hoo, we got a live one. They treated it like the orders up at a Waffle House. Ding, 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 like, just why don't you make sure they're alive or dead, you know? I don't know. It was cool. I very much enjoyed it. I flew in this morning. I came in on a red-eye flight. That's when, because I live in San Diego, so anytime I perform on the East Coast, I got to either leave the day before or the night before, and I like leaving the night before. So no sleep. I land, and I get in a rental car at 5 in the morning from Atlanta, and then I drive out here. And hey, it's the job I've chosen, okay? This is what I chose. I'm a road dog, baby. That's who I am. That was the coolest I've ever felt, was that one sentence right there. Everything came off so I'm a road dog, baby. And I was like, ooh, I almost believed it as I delivered the line. And, yeah, when I have a red-eye flight, that means I have Starbucks and McDonald's for breakfast. That's what happens. I don't know if you've ever slept the whole night and then you wake up in a new town, but you need food and coffee and then more. Like, your appetite is never satiated. So I got Starbucks and then I went to McDonald's. I went to a McDonald's here. That's where I got it, and I was happy because I went to a bad McDonald's. And because if you're a McDonald's fan like I am, yeah, the downtown one. Yeah, that one's a rough one, isn't it? It's not the best McDonald's, and I like a bad McDonald's, okay? I love a bad McDonald's because I'm trying to be healthy, and every time I go to a good McDonald's, I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna be back. Like, soon, I might be back today, because this is a good McDonald's. But thankfully, when it's a bad McDonald's, I'm like, oh, I won't be back for at least a week, you know? They'll be able to keep me away for a week, but this was a rough McDonald's. This is one of those McDonald's where, like, The employees don't even say, like, hey, what would you like? You just know it's your turn when their eyes open wider. Have you been in that situation when you know it's your turn, you're just standing there and they go, and you're like, a McMuffin, please. And I'm like, I love a good bad McDonald's. Like, I love it. The food came out, not hot, warm. That's how it comes out. It's just warm. You can tell that sandwich wasn't for you. That was the sandwich somebody else ordered, and they couldn't take the disrespect, and they left. And then you just came in and ate someone else's. That's what a bad McDonald's feels like. A bad McDonald's feels like eating someone else's breakfast. That's what it feels like. You're like, this wasn't for me, but I need this right now. I feel like that girl that snuck into the bear's house, and you're like, this one's lukewarm, but I'm gonna eat it. Yeah, but yeah, I like a good bad McDonald's. I even got pulled over on the way. I got pulled over by a trooper. I like your troopers out here. You guys wear the hats. With a hat with the belt. The hat with the belt and the hint. It's very aggressive. I like that. I got pulled over by the hat with the belt. And they were very polite. The guy was polite. He came in. Yeah, he was polite to me. I don't know. I think because I'm very chipper. You know, I was like, hi, like, cops don't expect that, you know? You pull someone over at 5:45 a.m., you expect I wasn't speeding, you expect an argument. And I was just like, well, hello! And then he was like, whoa! And I was like, yeah. Where are you headed? I'm on my way to a bad McDonald's, okay? So, what seems to be the issue, and he said I swerved, and I did, because I swerve all the time. I'm not a good driver, and I don't have a good rental car. Like, the new rental cars correct you. If you ever get like a new, or you just own a new car, but I don't own a new car. I get new cars through the rental shacks and stuff. And when you're, like last week I was in Cleveland, and I was in a car, and I kept drifting, because I get bored. It's so boring. You know, like all day there's screens and there's stuff to look at, and then I gotta drive for 3 hours from Atlanta to Savannah. I get bored, and it's just straight. So I'm looking at stuff, and while I'm looking at stuff, I veer. You know, I veer. That's what I do because it's boring. And then he saw me veering. And it wasn't a new car. It wasn't like a cool rental car that straightens you out. Like I was in a GMC Terrain or something last week that actually had a buzzer in the seat, and they'd zap you in the ass. If you started to drift, they'd give you a little taser shot right to the ass cheek, and you go, straighten out. And you're like, whoa. And then it would also straighten you out. But this is a Nissan Altima, so Nissan doesn't care, all right? Nissan doesn't care. They don't care about your life. They're like, you drive this thing. And so I got pulled over, and he was like, you tired or something? And I'm like, no, I'm pretty awake, actually. And he goes, I noticed you were swerving, and I had to come up with a lie. And because I didn't want to just say, I'm bored, you know? Like that's... I don't, that's not the proper way to handle that conversation with a guy. I'm sorry, I'm just really bored right now, and I saw something that away. And so I told him I was trying to set the cruise control, but I never know how to, because that's also me. When I get into a rental car, I don't set anything up. I just leave. I just get in the car and I leave, and I wait till I'm on the interstate doing 80 going, whoa, none of the mirrors are pointed the right way. Nothing is pointed the right direction. How do you turn the AC on? Let's figure out the buttons now when I'm on the interstate. And so I was trying to set the cruise. I don't know. He bought it, and he let me go, and he gave me one of these. Where they just touch the brim, and I was like, and he let me off, man. It's an exciting, I don't know. It's an exciting run. I rode in a Tesla recently. I don't know if any of you have an obnoxious friend that owns a Tesla. I have one. I have a friend, not a Tesla. And he was like, we're going to go do this show, and we were in the Tesla. And And I keep calling it a Tesla because he kept calling it a Tesla. Like, I've never had someone talk so much about their car before, you know, like while we were in it, he goes, you know, the Tesla, the Tesla. And I'm like, I drive a Honda Fit. That's never come up. Like, if you and me are in my Honda Fit, I'm never going, you know. That's a cup holder over there by your leg. This is a Honda Fit, you know. Like, I'm not bringing that up. He just kept talking about the car, and he kept pronouncing it weird. He kept saying Tesla. Tesla. And he was like, you know, the Tesla. And it got to the point where I'm like, am I saying it wrong? Or are you trying to change the way everybody says it? Because he just kept saying Tesla, Tesla. And I was like, what is that? Is he being like a weird... Because I hate those people. You know those like how to pronounce things, you know? They're like, actually it's a croissant. You know, like... One of those people. I hate those people. I'm like, shut up and give me the croissant already. I'm trying to get some breakfast in. It's a croissant. It's a Tesla. I'm never getting a Tesla. Not just because I can't. I said it like he wanted me to. That's not how I want to say it. I want to say the way I want to say it. Tesla. That's what it is. I'm never getting one. Not just because I can't afford it, but even if I can, I'm like, I don't want it. Because do you know what happens when you got to charge it up? Like, we drove all the way up, and then we had to just charge it up. You just got to park in a Target parking lot and sit there like you're a phone plugged into the wall. And then just talk while you're going, that's not enough to get home? We still have to have this fake conversation right now? Put a gas tank in this thing. Let's at least get it home. You know? Now I want to save the planet, but not that bad. That's why I got the Honda Fit. It has leaf mode. I hit the leaf when I'm like, you know what, I'm burning too many carbons right now. Let's cut some of the ponies out of this bad boy. Bring it down on leaf mode. Last week was interesting. Last week was weird. I had to take a cat to the vet. My cat Miso, my fiance's cat that I've adopted with my heart, Miso. We had to take it to the vet because we thought she was sick, and it's hard with a cat because they always look kind of sick. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's part of cat ownership, where you're just like, is that cat okay? I don't think it's okay. That's most of cat ownership, going, I think the cat is sick. And then we do the thing we always do. We're like, let's give it a week. Let's see if it's still doing whatever that is right now in a week, and then we'll make an appointment. And so it kept doing like this weird cough thing. So I was like, all right, let's call the vet. And then you go in there, and then the vet asks you all these questions, and they make me feel so bad, because they make me feel like a bad cat parent, because I don't have the answers to any of these questions, all right? The vet was like, has Miso been eating? Has she been eating well? And I'm like, what do you think, we eat together? Like, do you think there's a table? And we're like, Miso, you didn't finish your peas? Like, what do you think happens? I throw kibble in a bowl and it goes down, and then the next day I refill it. I'm not keeping track, you know? And then she also asks, is Miso having diarrhea? And I'm like, well, what's that look like in sand? I think I could use a picture of what that might look like in a bucket of sand, because otherwise it looks like everything else, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I think she's okay with the diarrhea. And he's like, has she been lethargic? And I'm like, it's a cat. Compared to what? Compared to sleeping 15 hours a day? Yeah, she's bumped that up to 20, is what she's done. Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. But she's feeling better. They gave her a shot, and they took her temperature, which is the weirdest. They do it old school. They take a pet's temperature, they do it the way they used to do it to us back when they used to tie a bell to her finger when they thought we were dead. They lube up and it's not fun. Like, and they tell you it's gonna happen, and you have to hold your own cat. Which just feels like, I'm like, you do it. You're not gonna see, like, I gotta go home with her. She's gonna remember, you hold the cat, you know? And then you have to hold it, and then just like, she just gave me the weird, as soon as it went in, she just went. I can't tell if you're lethargic, so I got, we have to take all the appropriate precautions. This is just the way it goes, man. I don't know. That was last week. Last week was rough, man. Last week was rough. I had to go get health. I tried to get health insurance. I signed. Did you know you can't? Did you know you can't just get health insurance? Like whenever? I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a health insurance season. Like it makes sense. Like they had the ads, like, oh, open enrollment, but I thought they were just trying to like, you know, promote to people with like New Year's resolutions or something. Like, hey, well, you're getting in shape. Why don't you get some health insurance, you know? And I'm like, ah. And then I'm like, I'm gonna get some health insurance. And then I called Kaiser Permanente, and they're like, you can't. You can't. And I'm like, what? This is America. What do you mean? Imagine if other things work that way. Imagine if you're like, I'm gonna go get a new iPhone. In February? You can't get an iPhone in February. You gotta wait between August and September. Everybody knows that. Summer solstice, that's when you get iPhones. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. Why are we treating health insurance like a pumpkin spice latte? Like, why are we doing that? You can only get health insurance. And they told me that. They're like, you can't get it. And I'm like, but my testicle hurts now. Like, if your testicle hurts now, you just gotta wait till next Thanksgiving. That's what you gotta do. That's what I did. Not to get too personal, I got a twinge of a pain. I got a toothache in my left testicle. And yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. It's a toothache, and it's dull, and it's there, and it's and it's not consistent, but it. And I just wanted to get it checked out, and I can't. That's illegal right now. I gotta go find some guy in an alley or something. Get me helped out. And it was ridiculous. What's that? Get the ghost to check me out? Maybe that's what he was trying to warn me about last year. Should get that one checked out right there. That wasn't a molestation. That was the checkup right there. It's scary. I think it's gonna be fine, but I thought about it. You know, Emma's like, what if they gotta get rid of it? And I'm like, what? And she's like, what if you gotta lose one? And I'm like, well, that sucks. And then I was just going through like the thought process if I have to lose it. And I'm like, do they fill it up with like a fake one? You know what I mean? Do they just leave it empty? Just like a half-empty grocery bag? Like, why would you do that? Fill it up with something, even it out, throw a couple quarters in there or something, I don't know. These are the things in my head right now. Last week was hard, man. The vet, I took my cat, that's how I am. My cat got taken care of, and me, they're like, we can't help you. And I was like, I guess I'll talk to you on Thanksgiving. Now, I had to go get a new phone. I had to get a new iPhone, because my last one, I paid off, and I think they found out. I think Apple found out I paid off the iPhone, and they're like, whoa, make it shitty. Make it shitty. And it crashed on me when I was in Cleveland. I was trying to drive from Cleveland back to Detroit, where I picked up the rental car. My phone kept crashing. I don't know if you've ever tried to drive to a different city from a city you also don't live in with no phone, but like it's 2007 and you don't have a TomTom. I had to Google directions before I left the hotel, and I hand wrote directions. 8.7 miles, look for I-255. And I was like, so I'm just driving, looking at paper, getting buzzed because I'm veering. And so it was scary, so I had to go get a new iPhone. And I've hit the age now, I guess, where it's not a fun purchase anymore. I used to be so excited when I got a new phone. I'd be like, I'm gonna get a new phone. And it was so glamorous and fun and exciting. And I'm like, I wonder what the camera's gonna be like. And now I don't care. Because I've had enough of them to realize, yeah, they just keep getting better, kind of. But I hate it. I hate it. Every time I look at it, I get sad. That's what I hate it. I hate going to the Apple store. It just feels like communism in there. That's what it feels like. You walk in, it's overly lit, have no one smiling, you just get dashed to different tables, and they have all the phones out, and they all look the same, but they're not the same. You know what I mean? They're all like, oh, this one has a ha-ha-ha, and this one, but they all look the same. And it's just $1,200 for me to go, oh, I found the airport. Thank you. It's just a rough week, man. I don't want it to be all complaints. Things are going well. I'm engaged. We're getting married in May, which I'm pretty pumped about. Yeah. First week of May, we're eloping, actually. We're eloping to Italy, which is awesome. I wish the word elopement really described what an elopement is, because it does not. An elopement, you're like, oh, what's that? Is that a venue? What is it?
Let me ask you this right now. Gramercy, New York City. You guys ready for your headliner tonight or what? Come on. We can do better than that. Make some noise. Start clapping right now. Dry Bar. This week was Zoltan the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise right now for Zoltan Kaszas!
No time for dreaming.
Yeah! All right! You could be more excited, but all right! There it is. It was so nice, and like, I'm not doing it. That's fine. Thank you guys so much for coming out. One more time for Mike and Shane. Everybody make it loud for them. Good Lord. Oh, this is fancy. I like that. There's like a whole, that's like a VIP section over there. Not this, this is lower. That's up high. There's 2 bars. That's so many bars for this many people. That's not good. It's not conducive to comedy. Yeah, drunker. That's what we want. I love it. I've never had this many stools on stage. I guess that's what happens. Like, as you grow in your career, there's just going to be more stools and towels. I've never had a towel. This is about as useful as that towel they give you in first class. You're like, oh yeah, hot towel, just like I do for myself. This is great. This is so different from any other show I've done in New York City. The first show I did in New York, I put it on in 2019. It was in a basement in Bushwick. Was anyone at that? There you go, one. All right. You're the only one that survived. All right. No one else made it out of that neighborhood, apparently. Yeah, I didn't. That was the first time I put on a show in New York. I was looking for a venue, and I don't know if you know, it's hard to get a venue in this town. It's a very sought-after city for entertainment. And I always like it when people send me, they're like, please come to my town. And then they'll send you the venue, and you're like, oh, the arena. Yeah, I'll give that a shot. I'll call up Mr. Square Garden and see what his avails are looking like. But I couldn't get a venue, and then a buddy was like, hey, I have a friend, and she has a basement in Bushwick, and she usually has bands play in her basement. You want to do a comedy show there? And I'm like, all right. And I didn't think much of it, and I put up the tickets on like Eventbrite or whatever, and we sold it out at 50 people. That's as many people as you could fit in that basement. And then I showed up, and it didn't cross my mind. I'm like, oh, I'm just in front of an apartment complex. Like, I didn't make that clear in the description of the tickets. Like, people are just going to show up and be like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're not going in there. So what I did was I ordered a bunch of pizza, and I lured people in like a creep in a van. I just held pizza, and I'm like, you're at the right place. Go in there. And that was the first show I put on. And the second one was at the Broadway Comedy Club, where a woman with monkeypox didn't want to pay me. It was a deep story. I don't remember monkeypox. I think she was the one person I met that I'm like, that's pretty. I think that's it. And she was weird about paying me. And then the other show I did was at a gym called Con Body. You guys went to that? Yeah, Con Body. Remember that? That was a gym down in, what was that, Lower East Side? And it's a themed gym, because you know how like people in prison are in great shape, and then people in New York are like, I just want to be ripped like a felon, but I don't want to like do the crime part. You know, I'm trying to still be allowed to vote and stuff like that. So then that's how they themed that gym, and I was like, can we do a comedy show here? And they're like, we can do anything in here. So
that was the last show that I put on myself in New York. And then it came to this, and this is amazing, but it also at the same time, no one outside of this building cares. You know what I mean? Like, I took photos with my name, and I was like, hey, that's me. And then people were like, get out of the way. The hell out of there, there's no time to gloat. That's why I like this city. Everyone's down to earth in this city, because anytime you have a moment, you're like, hey, someone's like, I'll kill you right now. If you are get out of my face, you're ruining the sidewalk. Because that's what this town is built on. This town is efficient because there's misery here. There's, like, where people are happy, they float, oh, what's that? But if you're miserable, you keep it moving, all right? When I was outside going, that's my name up there, they're like, you're ruining the flow of traffic by being happy. But I like that. I like it because the city keeps people humble. They almost didn't let me in the venue. After I took my photo, I'm like, hi, I'm the comedian. And they're like, you have to go get your credentials. And I'm like, I'm the guy. And they're like, we don't care. Like, you need to get an envelope with a sticker, and we're still patting you down, and we're going to get in there. All right? But I like it. I like that they patted everyone down. No, this is going to be fine. But this is a venue where they do, like, metal shows. There's probably people covered in chains. You don't know how many arrows there are backstage. Because this place is for musicians that are high or drunk. And it's just all arrows back there going this way. Do not touch that doorknob. Touch this doorknob. You want to go this way. And that's so a musician who's high off his head, there's so many people working backstage just to make sure I make it here, which is so different from comedy. Like, musicians get to get away with murder, literally. A lot of times, they've killed people, and they're like, oh, you rascal, get in here. Why don't you play that song that is my wife and I's favorite song? But with comedians on the come up, you have to mind your P's. You're rude to a waitress, and you will be banned from Atlanta. All right? Like, that's how it is. So then you get to this level. Now I'm like too responsible to perform at a venue where they're like, how many arrows do you need to find the stage? And I'm like, no, I'm sober. And they're like, why? Because I have to talk out loud. I think that might be a lot of it. But it's awesome to be here. We got a hotel right next door, so we don't have to go too far back to Brooklyn, which is good. Yeah, our apartment's empty right now because we're moving back to San Diego. So, yeah, don't be sad. I'll still come back. There's flights. You guys have a lot of airports, a lot of them. I only like the LaGuardia one, but that one's good now. And I like it because no one's telling anybody. Because historically, LaGuardia was the bad one, and then they made it good, and they're like, shut up. Every time I go over there, I'm like, whoa, and they're like, shut up. You tell everyone it's horrible. Every time I go to LaGuardia, they got all the lines. They're like, are you clear? Are you TSA pre-check? Are you Sky Priority? And all the lines are like, they're 5 minutes. They're the same amount of time. Just walk on through. They're happy to see you. And then JFK, you're like, that is... A lot of times that Uber ride is longer than the flight that I took to get in. And they're like, come on in, man. So yeah, we're moving back. We have an empty apartment. We had the movers come in on Monday, and they took all their stuff, and then we mistimed it. So now my wife and I have just been living in a flop house. We just have a mattress on the floor. And we're like, this will be fine, won't it? It's not. It is not fine. Have you ever had an argument with an echo? Like, that's when you know you've either just moved to the place or you're leaving, and you're like, I shouldn't hear the argument twice. And that's where we're at. I'm happy. I'm happy to be going back to the sunshine, but I'm gonna miss. I like it. I never had a moment in this town where I felt like I fit in, but I liked that. You know, I like where every time I went outside, I'm like, who knows? You know. Who knows? Someone might yell at me, someone might smile, and I think it's for me, it's for someone behind me. There might be an argument over a scarf. So many things. I like that you guys were like, I could see an argument over a scarf. Like, a couple of you laughed, and a lot of you were like, I got an argument over a scarf today. I yelled it wasn't cold enough, and they said, prove it, and then we went after it. I remember one time I forget which train, but like there was a dude who was peeling cucumbers on the train and then putting them on his face. He was doing a full beauty treatment on the train, and the train was full, and only my wife and I were looking at him. My wife and I were the only ones going, oh, look at that. And everyone else was like, smart, dude. My skin's dry this time of year. This guy's getting it good. But yeah, we had movers come in, which is always. This is the first time I've ever had movers. I've always been the mover. I've never done it. And then they come in. I think they should ask you to leave. Because have you ever had movers come and then you're there and then they're just like, yeah, that one too. And then they're huge. They look like they could throw you across the street. And you're like, yeah, that one's fragile. If they pick up a lamp, there's glass in that. You should watch out for that. It's just bad. And they were all strong and handsome. And it was like too much. And then you watch your wife watch them. And then she'd look at me and I'm like, are you contrasting and comparing? Like, what are you doing right now? She would come by. Do you remember how many of us it took to get that couch up here? And I'm like, don't bring that up right now. They were good guys. Yeah. I always get weird when people come into the house. I never know what to do with myself. Like we had someone come in, they had to work on the plumbing or something, and they were in the closet, so I'm just standing in the living room because I don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself, so I'm just standing there. And then a second worker came in that I wasn't expecting, just came in, and I was and for no reason, I just picked up an ottoman and moved it 2 feet over. And I'm like, yeah, that's where that belongs. What was that doing over there? That's not where that goes. I'm at work too, just so you know. You know, I had to Google the word ottoman. I didn't know that's what that was called, because I give everything a nickname in my house. I call those the stumps. Like when my wife and I sit down, I'm like, hey, why don't you bring one of those stumps over so I can put my hooves up? And I didn't want to say that in front of an audience because I didn't want to sound like white trash, so I Googled. I'm like, what are those stumps that I put my hooves on when I watch TV? And they're like, did you mean ottoman? And I'm like, yeah, the dog from Beauty and the Beast. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I never know what to do with myself. Like, we had to hire a guy to hang our TV when we moved here because you guys there's brick walls on the East Coast because you guys have less earthquakes, so you can have brick. I grew up in California where everyone would be dead if there was. All the walls are made of paper, so it's like, oh my God, oh, I'm still alive. I'm pinned down, but I'm not dead. But here it's brick, and I don't have a drill. I got an IKEA drill that's made for fake wood, and so my wife, there's an app called TaskRabbit where you can hire men to come over and do men things. That's what they're there for. So my wife's like, I hired this guy to come over and hang our TV, and I looked, and it was a Russian dude named Igor, and I was like, all right, and she's like, oh, he'll be here in 10 minutes. I'm like, okay. And she's like, are you gonna stay? And I'm like, yeah, I was, is it weird if I stay? And she's like, I mean, it's just as long as you're comfortable with it, you can stay. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna stay. And he showed up, and I'm like, I should have left. It was, like, I thought I was comfortable with my masculinity, and I wasn't. I thought I was, should have left. He came in, and he just pulled out his and he's drilling the wall, and there's, like, brick flakes flying everywhere. He had a big vein in his forearm. Yeah! And then he looked over, and we made eye contact, and I'm like, I'm gonna go wait in the bedroom. That's where I'm gonna go wait. And it's a small apartment. My bedroom's just right there. So he's over there drilling the wall. I'm over here just making baby circles. Just tell me when he's done. Tell me where he pees. I have to pee where he pees. Otherwise, this is his apartment now. There's weird rental laws in New York. I don't know if you guys know it. They're like, no, that's his urine. Are you falling asleep? Are you okay right there? Are you very high? Oh, yes? Oh, of course. I love your answer. That was a very New York answer. You're like, of course. Like, what do you responded like I asked if it was Friday. You're like, of course it's Friday. Where have you been? You came to a comedy show prepared. I like that. Some of these jokes you'll get on a delay. Absolutely. Yeah. I've always had a good time here. I have a neighbor named Bob. He's an elderly man named Bob, and he and I just have never we never disagree. We've never had an issue, but you ever just not do it right with a person? Like every interaction, you're like, what the hell was that? I don't know why, but like my volume of my voice is always off with this guy. Every time I see him, like my energy's up here and he's like down here. I'll just be like, hey Bob! And he's like, and I'm like, try again tomorrow. Like, one time I saw him down the street. You ever see your neighbor but not at your place? Like you see him somewhere else and you're like, hey, look at us. We're at the same thing. And I did that. I'm like, Bob! And he's like, and I'm like, man! And it's just been a year and a half of that replaying in different ways. Bob! And you're like, and I'm like, idiot. Yeah. I gotta come in smoother. But yeah, it's been a fun couple. Last week, it's been fun. We had the election. I feel it, Some people are happy. I try to remember that. A lot of people are happy. That makes me feel better. You ever see someone happy and then you're happy just because they're happy? Not so much in this city, but like, when you leave and then you're somewhere else and you're like, that guy's so happy right now. Like, I'm proud. Like, just watching the video of people lining up to vote made me like, oh, look at those people. They're lining up to have their voices be heard. That's so nice. I'm just proud of people now. I feel that. Like, sometimes I'll be at the park and I'll see people running, and I'm like, wow, I'm proud of that guy. And my wife's like, do you know that guy? I'm like, no, but he's running. And we're not running, but he's doing it. He doesn't want to run either. We don't want to run, and we didn't. He didn't want to run and did. Like, I'm proud of him. Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't close, the election. I'm happy. And it didn't come out the way I wanted, but I'm glad it was, because if it was close, I would have been like, oh, who didn't vote? But because it was a blowout, I'm like, oh okay. All right. Fine. Recount? We don't need to. I think you did it. It felt like a football game where, like, your team, you're like, yeah, this is it. But then the opening kickoff, you can just feel it. You're like, this isn't going good. Like, I remember at the beginning, they just showed 3 states, and I'm like, that's already a rough first quarter right there. Like, we have New Hampshire. I'm like, is that good? It's like 2 people in that state. It was rough. It was just the reveal of it. It was like a temperature check of the country, I think, is what that election was. And I was like, oh, it's going to go like this. And I'm like, oh, I was wrong. I had no idea everyone felt that way. The election reminded me of my first boy-girl party. I went to my first boy-girl party when I was 12. It was Melissa Vasquez's birthday. It was her 12th birthday party. And a couple days before her party, I was on a 3-way phone call with her. Remember 3-way phone calls in the 90s? And I was on a phone call with her and my friend Johnny C. And she was like, hey, Johnny C., for my party, can you bring over your Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre CDs? And he's like, absolutely, I'll bring them. And then I was like, oh, I'll bring over my Will Smith's Greatest Hits CD. And there was a long pause and there was 2 other people on the line with me, and nothing. And I was like, well, I'll bring over my Will Smith's Greatest Hits. Like, I repeated myself. I'm like, clearly they didn't hear me. And then there was another long pause, and Melissa's like, you don't have to do that. And I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, that's what the election was like for me. That was me going, oh, I didn't know. I'll put this away then. That was a lot of my childhood because I didn't have an older sibling. Like, people that are so lucky, if you have an older sibling, they'll be like, don't wear that. You shouldn't wear that. That's your first day of high school? I wouldn't do that. I didn't have that. I would just find out that the thing I picked wasn't cool by showing up. You ever have that? You get a summer vacation, you're like, those green jeans? Hell yeah, dude. I'm wearing some green jeans. And then you show up first day at school, you're like, oh no. And you're like, Mom, I picked the wrong color jeans. And she's like, we're not going back to the store. So you have to be the green jeans kid all of 6th grade.
You made it to the end. I'm so proud of you. You know, I look at the statistics. A lot of people watch like halfway through or 3/4 of the way through, but not you. You watched the whole thing. Bravo. Thank you. You know what else you can do for me? You can hit like, you can hit subscribe, but more importantly than all of that, you can go to my website, zoltancomedy.com, and see if I'm performing in a town near you, and then come see me live. Everything's better than live. Reggae, jazz, poetry. Good Lord. Come see me live. What's up, everybody? Yeah? All right. We are here. All right. This is great. What a beautiful club. Unnecessarily giant stage that I love. This is the biggest stage I've ever seen. Like, this stage should have 1,500 seats in front of it. That's how big it is. It's like 20 yards long, and we're not going to be using it, you know? Like, you people up to the sides, those are front row seats, and they could be last row. That's how far away you are. It's wild, but it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Everyone's got their own section, penalty boxy looking thing. It's great. I love it. There's so much room, but then also no room at the same time. It's like whoever designed it, you're like, no, cram it in. It's like Texas in here. You're like, there's nothing but space. And you're like, no, jam them in there. It's like, but there's all this farm space. No, that's, the artists need that to roam around. This is where I will be the entire time. I feel like I'm wearing baggy jeans right now, where you're like, a lot of this will not be used. But we are here, man. It's so good. I like it. This is my first time hanging out in like downtown Detroit, and you guys are really keeping this secret, aren't you? It's nice out there. It's really nice out there. I came in yesterday, and today I just walked around like a tourist looking at stuff. I went into old buildings. I went into a Bank of America that was like opened in the 20s, and it had all this. I took videos. And I'm like, what? No one knows, by the way. I don't know if you know, but the rest of the country is like, Detroit. Everyone's idea of Detroit is just watching that Eminem movie on replay. That's what everyone thinks of Detroit. They're like, oh my God, everything's on fire. And people are desperately trying to leave. And it's like, it's so nice. It's so good. Don't worry, I won't spread the word. I'll keep it so... I don't want you guys to get overrun with people, because then it won't be nice. But it's good. I walked over. I'm staying at a hotel not too far away, and I walked over, and it's kind of empty like on my walk, but they got those like, you know, those people that are like hammered on a bike, you know, those. It's like a bar, and you pedal and you drink and you have to woo. You have to. There's never, by the way, that's not every bar, all right? They should have, you know, you're walking to a sad bar, you know, everyone's divorced and they're just like, ugh. They just opened another sad letter. Where's that one, you know? Where's a bunch of stepdads just, paddle. And if you're on one of those, you're wooing for no reason. Green light! And I'm walking here from my hotel, and there was one that paced me for 2 blocks. 2 blocks. They're going at my pace, and woo! It was like such a metaphor for my life. Like I'm near fun, but I'm not a part of it, you know? Like, I'm so close to having community and friendship, but I don't want to woo with you. I don't know what to tell you. It looks dumb. I know it's fun.
Because I can see your faces. You look like you're having a blast, but I would feel so dumb. Oh, man. But I enjoy what you guys got going down here. I've been Detroit adjacent a few times. I've performed in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is not here. Yeah, I've been up there, and yeah, right. And Royal Oak, Michigan, I've been out there too. So I've been adjacent. So I remember every time I land at the airport and I Uber out of there, I remember because you guys have a street sign that I don't think you know that other places don't have. But you have if you hit a road worker, it's $7,500. Which, if you grew up here, I'm sure you're like, what? But for people from other places, that's a jarring sign to see. You know, you're just like, you know, you're weary from the flight, and you're like, oh, wow. It's like everybody's life has value, you know? But I don't think at any time we should know exactly how much. No one should know exactly what you're worth. Especially when you're at work. You're out there doing, and you just look up and you're like, oh yeah. How'd you guys get that number, too? That 75, like, the politicians must have talked about it. Big roundtable discussion. Someone's like, all right, what should this cost? 20 grand. And you're like, in this economy? Let's not price us out of hitting a road worker. Let's get it somewhere reasonable. They did add on like 15 years, I think, in jail. It's like 70, but that should be first. Whatever. That means it used to just be 7,500, and people are like, I've been saving. And then they're like, all right, add some years. These people aren't getting it. Yeah, but I like it. I've had adventures up here. I like it. I should have gotten a DUI in Royal Oak a few years ago. 2018. I had a rental car, a Toyota Camry. It was like a sports edition, and so it had a little more giddy up. And I did a show at the Comedy Castle, the other club, and after the show, an audience member was like, hey, my buddy owns the bar next door. Do you want to come by and have a drink? And I was like, yeah, I'll come by and have a drink. I'll just have one beer, because I got to drive the rental car responsibly back to the hotel. And but they picked the beer, and beer. There's too much of a range on beer now, where it's like either like a Miller Lite or you're like, this is vodka. I think this is what are we drinking? I don't know what it was, but it was beer you couldn't see through. That's how mean it was. And I finished it. And I wasn't hammered, but I was also like, all right, and which is wrong. You shouldn't drive in that condition unless it ends in a fun story that no one gets hurt in, which is how mine ended. Because I was and I got in the car, and I'm like, well, yeah, all right. Because what is it about like feeling like that, where you're like, well, I can't sleep in the parking lot. I have to get back to the hotel. That's my responsibility as an adult, and. So I start driving, and once I start driving, I'm like, oh, this is good. It's fine. And so I feel like I have control of my faculties. I'm like, let's just not get pulled over. And I was getting off the freeway at my exit, and I could see my hotel, and there's nobody around. I didn't see anyone on my drive, and I'm in a Toyota Camry, sports edition, little vroom vroom action, and I'm feeling loose. The beer's in my system. So as soon as the light hit green, I floored it and turned right. The whole time I'm like, yeah! And then my headlights illuminated a cop car in a bush. That was the only person that saw was a police officer on duty in a bush. And I lit him up, and he lit me up then right after. And he pulled me over in the hotel parking lot that I'm staying in. Like, that's the only place to pull over. And he was so nice. He came up to me. He's like, where are you staying? And I'm like, here. like I'm like freeze tag or something. I'm like, no, I'm in home base, room 212. Like we made it. And he's like, well, you know, I got to ask you, what was going on back there? And I was like, I'm not used to all this horsepower. And he's looking at it. He's like, it's a Camry. And I'm like, sports edition. And he's still looking at me suspect. And I'm like, I drive a Honda Fit at home. And he's like, go to bed, sir. And then he let me. Sometimes honesty is, you know, don't act all manly. You're going to get yourself in trouble. Just be honest and go, I drive a Honda Fit. And I was having the time of my life during that turn. Woo, like the commercials. The ground was even wet, just like the car ads. You know, they throw water on there. I was all into it, man. So, very much enjoyed coming here. This was a fun week. It was a fun week. Did you guys watch the debates? Did you guys do that? No? Some people shaking their head. Really? That was on? You knew it was going to be entertaining. I like it. Last night's crowd was the same way. I'm like, did you guys watch the debates? Oh, really? All right. That wasn't on in the background while you were making a Blue Apron? You know? What'd they say? Oh, yeah. These immigrants eating our cats. That's what we got out. That was awesome. They're eating our cats. Oh, it was just a beautiful moment, you know? Her reaction was perfect. Our reaction was perfect. Oh, is that what they're doing? Because I feel like you could have said other stuff, and you're like, eating cats, I wonder if he was doing it because his buddy J.D. Vance said the thing about the childless cat ladies, and then all the childless cat ladies are all like, hey! And then Trump's like, don't worry, buddy, I'm going to get him back. They're eating our cats! What? And I get it. I kind of relate to what I think he was going through when that happened. And this is what I mean by that. Sometimes you have a lot of information and you start out wrong. You know? You pick the wrong one in the Rolodex and you're like, this one. And you're like, I should have saved that one. Because it was weird. I related to this moment because I remember in the second grade my grandmother died. And it's just, when you're a kid, sometimes you get information and then you don't get it right, you know? And then, like, my grandmother died. We got a letter. We were already living here in the United States. My grandma was back home, and my mother had to break it to me, your grandmother's dying. And I was very sad. And I said, why? Why is grandma dying? And he's like, she's having kidney failure, and she's not going to make it. And I'm like, well, I was a kid. I don't understand. I'm like, well, why are her kidneys failing? And she's like, well, you get older, your organs start to not be as good as they used to be. And she's like, that's why we got to drink a lot of water to take care of our kidneys. And I was like, was Grandma not drinking water? And she's like, well, not enough. She was drinking a lot of coffee. You know Grandma likes her coffee. And then so I had that information, but I'm in the second grade. So then I went to school and I was all sad. My sweet teacher, Mr. Smith, was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, my grandma's dying. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, yeah, she drank too much coffee. And he just had to respond, you know? He was just like, yeah, that all happens sometimes. That's what they're eating our cats was. For that, we were all Mr. Smith in that situation. I'm like, perhaps they are. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to vote. No one ever talks about that. It's hard to vote. Not the actual act of voting. It's paper. But it's so hard because like one candidate might say something, you're like, I like that. But then they say other stuff, and you're like, nah, not so much that. But if you vote, you got to take the whole package, right? It's like ordering dinner. You're like, what do you want for dinner? Oh, I want a pizza. Oh, all right, we'll get pizza. And I'm like, I also want a Coke. And you're like, no. If you get pizza, you can only drink milk. And you're like, what? That's disgusting. I don't want milk with my pizza. What are you talking about? I want a Coke. And they're like, all right, you can get Coke, but you gotta eat a kale salad. And you're like, why? And they're like, that's how it goes. And I'm like, well, what if we order the pizza and the milk and the kale salad and the Coke? And I'll take the milk and the kale salad and I'll throw that away. And then I'll have the dinner I've wanted this entire time. And they're like, no, that's not how democracy works. It's so hard. That's what they'll slip it in. Just like, hey, do you want to make sure we take care of elderly people? We'll raise Medicare. And you're like, hell yeah, I want to do that. That's good for people that are retired. And they're like, all right, I'm also going to burn the homeless. And you're like, whoa. I'm not into that. And they're like, no. Well, one or the other, buddy. What do you want? We already got the fire started. So, it might have been a weird way to break down American voting, but that's what I thought of because last night I had a pizza. And I was like, man, it would suck if instead of a Coke I had milk right now. So yeah, it's fun. But yeah, it's been a good week. We had a bunch of workers at my apartment today. I live in New York City, so our apartment is all wrong. You guys live in a part of the country where your housing, I'm sure, is exactly how you want it. I would hope, you know. We rented an apartment in New York that was supposed to come with in-unit washer and dryer. And when we moved in, the washer and dryer was right outside our front door. And they're like, don't worry, we're going to get that set up in the next 2 weeks. It's been a year and a half. It's still sitting out there, just taunting us. Every time I take the laundry down to the laundromat, I open the door, and I'm like, oh, buddy. You're right there. Just not hooked up to anything, you know? And they were supposed to set it up, so we had workers come into the house, and I get so awkward when there's workers in the house. Like, I don't know what to do with myself when there's workers in the house, because I'm just in there, and then I'm like, oh, is this what they think I do all day? Because I do stuff. Really, I don't, but I don't want them to know. I don't know how to tell them I'm a comedian, you know? Like, I just feel awkward when there's people in the house. So like the one worker came in and he was in our closet setting up the thing. And so I'm just in the living room standing, trying to kill time. And then a second worker I wasn't expecting came in. And for no reason, I just like picked up the ottoman and moved it 2 inches and then put it back down. Just so I didn't just stand there like a weirdo. And, oh yeah, this is where ottomans go. It's like, why the hell am I so uncomfortable? It's so bad. I had to Google what that word was, by the way. I didn't know that was I didn't know ottoman. Because I give everything a nickname, and we have 2 little cylinder things that we put our feet on, and I call them stumps. That's what I do when my wife and I sit down on the couch. I'm like, give me one of them stumps. And then I put my hooves up on that, and we're all comfortable. And I like doing that, but I'm like, the first time I say that to an audience, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, I had to pick up a stump and put it down. I'm like, they're going to think I'm white trash or something. So I had to Google, what is the stump in the living room that I put my feet on when I watch TV? And Google's like, ottoman? And they had a photo, and I'm like, oh, the dog from Beauty and the Beast? Hell yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's fun when you get to find out how dumb you are in real time. That's good. But my wife, I don't know, I had a moment today where my wife likes to plan. She's like, oh, where do you see life in 5 years? And I was like, what? I think about 6 months in advance at all time. I don't know what normal people do. I don't know if you relate to this, but like beyond December, I don't know. All right? Like, I'm just looking to get to December. And then when I'm in December, let's talk about May, maybe. But let's calm down. But my wife's, she's smart. That's why she's successful. That's why she's like, no, let's think about 5 years. I'm like, 5 years from now? She's like, yeah, you're going to be 42. And I'm like, what? And I started getting tears in my eyes. And she's like, are you okay? I'm like, why did you say that? What did I say? You said I'm going to be 42. In 5 years. And she's like, that's math. Where do you see your life at 42? I'm like, what? I don't
don't know what that is, but that's been me my whole life. I never wanted to graduate, like ever. Like I remember the first moment I had with that feeling. It was in kindergarten, and we came back after Christmas break, and we had to change the big class calendar. And my teacher, Mrs. Wilson, was like, "Let's say bye to 1992." And I'm like, and everyone's cheering, "Bye, 1992." I'm like, I liked 1992. That was a good year. And that was me at 5. And here I am at 37. Like, why'd you bring up 42? And she called me 38 twice, which really pissed me off. And the first time I ignored it, I'm like, honest mistake. The second time, I'm like, I'm 37! And she's like, why are you yelling? And I'm like, because I am. And she's like, oh, sorry, honest mistake. And I'm like, that's a big mistake. I don't know what that is. That's for a therapist to figure out. But I don't want to advance. Maybe because I just feel like every time, like, yeah, let's think 5 years ahead. If you always live life like that, eventually it's going to be like, 5 years from now, graveyard? Huh? That just means you're thinking of the end. I want to enjoy the now. Hey there. Thank you so much for watching my video. Is this too close? We're keeping it. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Also, I'm going to be on tour all year, 2024. Might be the last one. So, go to zoltancomedy.com, look at the tour schedule. If you don't see your town, sign up for my mailing list. I promise I'm going to try to come, and I'll see you out there on the road. Thank you.